Hey guys, welcome to the Fighters channel. Friends, before starting to watch this video, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. I really want to get 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. It's so close, thanks for supporting me guys. Many boxing experts have said that the career of former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua of Britain will end if he loses the fight to American Jermaine Franklin. As Hearn, Joshua's promoter, disagrees with this statement. Hearn is confident that the boxer will be able to return to the world stage, even if he loses this fight. But it will be very difficult to get a championship fight. It's a great fight. Franklin had an amazing fight with Dillain White, showed how good he is. Obviously, Joshua has suffered 2 defeats, and now there are a lot of questions for him. Franklin, this is the guy who will show what level Anthony is at. Of course, it will be very difficult to get a fight for the world title if Joshua loses. He has to pass this test, so there is a lot of pressure on him right now. If he loses, I don't think it will be the end of his career, but in terms of a championship fight, it will be very difficult, Hearn said. Recall that Joshua will meet with Franklin on April 1st. The fight will take place at the 2 Arena in London, United Kingdom. Former heavyweight title contender Dillain White disapproved of the fact that on April 1st, former world champion in this weight Anthony Joshua will fight against American Jermaine Franklin, whom White defeated last year with some difficulty. Promoter Hearn sold that fight to the public as a qualifier, stating that the winner would be the next opponent of Joshua returning to the ring after 2 consecutive defeats, but then quickly forgot about this idea. I'm fine, I just ran into the usual shit again. I just want to boxing, but it's fucking annoying, White said in an interview. All boxing fans were told that the winner of our fight with Franklin would meet Joshua, but in the end nothing. I would have been better off losing to Franklin and getting a fight with Joshua. I understand that doesn't need to interest its subscribers, but why chose a little-known American who has just lost instead of showing a large-scale British confrontation? I'm not surprised that they chose April 1st for this fight, White added. I met Franklin when he was going undefeated and defeated him. AJ promised him millions of dollars for a fight with Joshua if he beat me. They take care of Joshua because they understand that, in case of another defeat, he will probably send everything to hell, and they will all be left without his money, White said. Ex-challenger from Great Britain heavyweight Dillain White told the reason for his nondescript performance in the last fight against American Jermaine Franklin. According to the winner, he went in the battle with an injured biceps and an infection of the chest organs. You know, in such a state it is very difficult to change yourself mentally. Oh, it was very difficult. I understood that in case of defeat, this is the end of everything. And once again, I'm not being given credit for winning, even though I fought an undefeated fighter. In the first fight after 2 consecutive defeats, Joshua will cross paths with an extremely curious character. Dmitry Salita describing the virtues of Jermaine Franklin: quick hands, good chin, compared to Andy Ruiz. It seemed that having no chance against an opponent who was at the peak, he knocked out the Briton in June 2019 in New York. However, Anthony Joshua got out of that situation. 6 months later, he managed to take a convincing revenge from the upstart. Perhaps Andy Ruiz and Jermaine Franklin are stylistically different from each other, but in terms of background, public perception, they are definitely very similar. The fact is that a couple of years ago no one knew about Franklin, except for people who are interested in boxing, even what is happening on the distant periphery. The American, who is now 29-year-old, began his professional career back in 2019, but until recently it was developed in a rather specific way. Franklin fought exclusively in low, prestige provincial halls in the United States, often in small towns, and against opponents whose ambitions didn't go beyond these halls. But in the end, the record of 21 victories in 21 fights, coupled with a good percentage of wins by knockout, exactly 2/3 of them were won ahead of schedule, convinced that the functionaries from professional boxing that Jermaine Franklin can be trusted to perform in a really noticeable fight. For his sake, he went to London at the end of November 2022. There at Wembley Arena, Franklin fought with Joshua's compatriot Dillain White. White is without reservation ranked among the elite of the heavyweight category. He claimed the championship title, coped with great fighters, and was second only to the undisputed superstars Tyson Fury, Alexander Povetkin, Anthony Joshua. Meanwhile, Jermaine Franklin, who had no experience of this level of fighting, managed to deliver a lot of problems to Dillain White. He eventually took over on point, but one of the three judges had a draw on the card, and such boxing allowed Franklin to instantly jump up in the rating. In ESPN's classification of the best heavyweights, for example, he occupies the 10th position. Eric Nixick, the coach of former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, told what other options his ward has for a boxing match in addition to the offer from American Deontay Wilder. According to Nixick, they are considering options for fights against the current WBC heavyweight title holder Briton Tyson Fury and the former champion of the same weight category, Mexican Andy Ruiz Jr. Still, the coach claims that the most attractive and intriguing fight for their team is against Deontay Wilder. We heard about the desire to fight Francis from Tyson Fury and Andy Ruiz. All these names constantly pop up in different interviews, but the most intriguing confrontation for Francis, of course, is against Wilder. So we will see how everything develops and what happens. But now I'm glad that Ngannou is at home and already training, the coach said. Frank Warren's promoter of the WBC heavyweight title holder Tyson Fury assured that his ward is not going to hold a fourth fight against Wilder instead of unification. We didn't have any conversations. In my opinion, this fight will not happen. I was talking to Wilder's manager Shelly Finkel the other day, and they have something they are working on there. So at this stage, I'm not sure what will happen. They say Wilder will fight with Ruiz, but who knows? Therefore, from my point of view, we are not even considering it. We are focused on the work that we have on hand. I hope we can do it, Warren said. The head of the Matchroom Boxing promotion company, Hearn, said that he was in charge of organizing a fight between two former world heavyweight champions, American Deontay Wilder and Mexican Andy Ruiz Jr. We are negotiating to try to organize this fight. I would like to spend it. I think I can give a good opportunity to both guys. These are two cool heavyweights. This is a great fight, but we still need to work to organize it. I wouldn't waste my time if I thought it couldn't be done. We are still negotiating now, Hearn said. Frank Warren, the promoter of the interim WBO heavyweight champion Joe Joyce, said he wants to organize a world fight against Anthony Joshua. If both boxers win their next fights, I would love to arrange this fight. It's a good fight for Joe. No disrespect to Zhang Jili, because this is also a good fight. He will give Joyce some problems, based on his recent performances. To be honest, we tried to arrange a fight with Joshua and it needs to be done. We have no problems with this fight. None at all. We have been publicly offering to do this fight for a very long time. They were considering a number of other opponents, and we say that Joe could enter the ring. This fight is not difficult to arrange, Warren said. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.